Hi guys, sorry, got cut up earlier because my phone ran out of space, so I couldn't go on. So I just so I'm just gonna wait for a few more people to jump on again. Sorry, the other one got interrupted, so this is take 2. So how do I? Oh, I see someone jump on. So drop me a line and say hi, so I know who you are. So I don't know if you were the same people before where you were watching. I was talking about building the wicking bed. I'll just turn the camera around so I can explain what we're doing. So what we've done in the last weekend, we have installed all of these garden beds across the house, so the side of our house. So this is our back garden. David, I'm on live, Dave. So we've installed this all across the house. And so these garden beds are going to be turned into wicking beds. And what does wicking bed mean? Wicking bed basically means it will have a reservoir at the bottom. At the moment, we haven't installed the lining yet. We will be installing a lining. It's not a PVC lining, it's a special food grade lining all across here. So there will be almost like a pond, and we will put gravel at the bottom of it, and underneath there will be eggy pipe, so there will be a reservoir in there. And then on top of that we will put a barrier to separate the pebbles and the soil. So at the top there we will be planting all our vegetables and herbs, whatever that is. And the idea is that area where we have pebbles will always have sorry, my kids are screaming. The area where we have pebbles will always has water sitting in there. So that's the reservoir. So it will be self-watering. It will just keep watering the plant by the water rising up and watering the plants at the top. So there will be very minimal need for constant watering. Sorry, my son is screaming. I need to check what's happening. The kids are school holiday now. Oliver, where's Oliver? Why's Oliver crying? Yeah, anyway, so as you can see, we have quite a few beds here, and the idea is to capture the water from the recycled water from our bathtub and filter it in the reed bed and let it keep going across. So I'll show you. So the first bed here behind this bed is going to be called a reed bed. A reed bed is going to be planted up with lots of plants, not edible plants but special water plants. We won't have any soil in there. We will just have pebbles and rocks, and those pebbles and rocks and the plants that we're going to grow are going to be acting as a filtration system. So the water that comes out from the bathtub will be filtered through. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to have the water coming out from the bathtub, and because of the location of this tap, unfortunately it's not on this side, so we will have to put a pipe through and bring the water to this side, and we will let the water flow down and travel all the way through back this way. And what we'll be doing is we will be installing put a hole in here and join it to the next bed, so all the water should get filtered through those pebbles and with the roots of the plants that we're going to grow, and the excess water will go through to the next bed here. And this bed will be where we'll be planting all our food and vegetables and stuff like that. So inside this bed we will have a liner. We will be installing liners, like a plastic liner, but the plastic we're using is a special food grade plastic, so it doesn't leach any chemical into the food. They're quite expensive actually, a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be, but it costs about $100 each for each bed of liner. So we'll be installing liners, and the idea is at the bottom of the liner we will be installing about 5 mils of pebbles, and in the pebbles there will be an eggy pipe. So any water overflow will go through into the eggy pipe and will be dispersed into the bottom. And on top of the pebbles we will put a barrier, and like it's called a geotextile barrier on top of it. And then on top of the barrier we will be putting in soil, and on top of the soil we're putting in soil, and we can plant on top of it. So, and the idea is we will be joining all these beds together, because so this bed we will pump up to this bed, and any overflow from that bed will come to this bed, and it will water the plant in this bed, and it will just keep going. and you just keep going, and all these beds will be joined. So we just had to make sure when we install the overflow, it will be done properly. So it just, yeah, because you don't want it to not be done properly and it leaks in one area, and it's going to be a problem to try to fix it up. So this is the last bed. We will have an overflow here. So any water that is going to be above, we'll be installing the overflow about 5 centimeters from the bottom, so you can just let the water flow out. Anything extra, we will be directing that, maybe pump it up, we will attach it to a hose and attach it to the, and spread it to the rest of the garden. So yeah, so I don't know if it makes sense. It's a bit hard to describe it without the things in place, but we will be getting the liner for the beds in the next few days, and once we get them, when we install them, we will show you how it's done. But right now, all we've done is we're preparing the beds by building the retaining wall, making sure that inside the retaining wall, the soils is all flat and there's nothing sharp in there that could poke a hole in the liners. So yeah, so we're just preparing it right now, and I think when we get all the materials to build the rest of the bed, I will come online again, I'll come live again, I will show you how it's done. So we've done the first part, which is just building the retaining wall, and yeah, so it's done very simply. The retaining wall is very straightforward. Basically just yeah, basically we're just nailing it, we're just screwing it. We didn't use any stilts or anything, we're just screwing it directly into the wall and put an L shape in there, so it's quite straightforward. And yeah, so we just need to make sure it's done properly. David joined this timber together before he installed it into the wall, so we just done it. So this is like this is always what we intended to build. In the past, it just take us a while to get here, 2 years, and we're almost there. So previous to this, we've been living with this kind of finish on our wall for a long time, and it's not great. So this is my back garden. It doesn't look great at the moment because we're supposed to be planting lawn here, but I didn't want any lawn. I didn't want just any grass or any lawn because I want it to be clovers. So this is what we've been planting. It hasn't been growing too well. So I want to plant clovers because clovers is considered weed for a lot of people. But so clovers is considered weed for a lot of people, but it's actually a really good plant for you to use in your lawn. Firstly, it fertilizes the soil. Secondly, it requires very little maintenance. You don't really need to mow it at all. It will just thicken up and it will just look after itself. And thirdly, it stays green in winter. So all the grass here we have is supposed to be clovers, but it's not growing too well because we have ducks. They have been eating them a little bit. So it hasn't been growing as well as we wanted. But either way, you can see it's growing very flat. We haven't needed to mow it at all, and the ducks kept it low as well. We just need to make sure we grow more of it. So this area will all be planted with green clovers. So once it turns green, I think it will look fantastic, and we will be planting all our food here along the garden beds here. So yeah, so that's it. Just a quick one from me, just to show you what we've done to build the wicking bed. So when you build wicking bed, you don't need to water it. You just very occasionally, for us, we don't need to water it at all because we're actually using recycled water from the bathtub. Because as long as we go into the bath once in a while, at least once a week, it will keep the water going. Even if we go it once a month, I think it should still be fine. We don't have to do it every week. So we'll just be testing it out. This week, hopefully, we'll be receiving all the materials we need to finish the job, and we'll show you how it's done properly when we get there. So thanks for jumping on, and yeah, leave me a comment if you want to learn anything else, if you have any questions on how it's done. Thank you. I'm gonna head off for now. Thanks, guys.